I know our next guest was watching, but that's not why she's here. Care home residents in England will be able to leave their home for low-risk trips without having to self-isolate for 14 days afterwards from tomorrow.
It means that after months of being confined indoors, residents will be allowed to go out for walks or garden visits. Let's talk about this with our GP this morning, Dr. Nighat Arif. Good morning to you.
Morning, John.
I'll get your verdict on line of duty in a moment. But first of all, this is a big change, isn't it, for people who live in care homes?
And such a positive change, which is what we wanted. Now, people have been able to visit their relatives in care homes since the 10th of March. It was under restriction. You had to make sure that you had PPE. You had to make sure that you'd had a negative test as well. But this is now showing us that the landscape has changed. Now we have had up to nearly 50 million doses combined, first and second dose in the country. We are going down into the younger groups. And actually the rate of the chances of getting the virus are lower. And because of vaccination, because of all the measures that we've had, such as hand washing, wearing a mask, physical distancing, we've been able to drive down that virus, which means that now that relatives can go and see their loved ones and they can go out for a walk and in open spaces, which they haven't done. And this is a much needed change. I personally know a lot of my patients have been really distressed with the fact that their freedom, and they're absolutely right to use that word, their freedom has been curbed because of this whole situation. But it's because we've had the most amount of deaths in care homes, and they were the most affected right at the start. Because of loads of different issues, there wasn't preparations made. So this is such a welcome change and a positive move that we are heading in the right direction.
Oh, big smile. Let's hope so. I mean, it feels better, doesn't it, at the moment? But as we all know, we have to take this day by day. I'm really interested by these reports about testing, sort of changing the way we test, and that maybe people won't have to self-isolate if they've had contact with someone who's developed COVID, but instead they have to do lateral flow tests on a day-to-day basis. What do you make of that? How could that work?
Well, lateral flow tests, healthcare professionals have been doing them. I do them twice a week, and I've been doing it since January. We've also had school children doing lateral flow tests, and we know that 1 in 3 people are asymptomatic. And if we can pick those asymptomatic cases up, then that's even better. We've always had issues with self-isolation if you've been in contact or near someone who's tested positive for COVID-19. So that could be that you were in their vicinity for 15 minutes or a metre away, and that would still mean that you would need to go into self-isolation for at least 10 days, which unfortunately isn't practical. A lot of people find that their work might be affected, earnings, they might not be able to work from home, and they personally feel absolutely well. So their incentive to say, I'm going to stay at home was always questionable. And we were always wondering, are people really sticking to the rules and actually then knuckling down as a family, as a unit, and making sure they're not going out? Lateral flow tests have their issues. I'm not saying that they're a perfect test. There's high probability that they might not be always accurate. You can get false negatives and be reassured that you don't have the virus and go about your business. But what lateral flow tests have shown us is that in people, we can pick up cases where they are completely asymptomatic. And if this works, this is only a trial, by the way, at the minute. If this works, this is even better way of making sure that we can manage the situation in the future, because we know that variants happen and we need to make sure it's always about driving down the virus so that we don't allow the NHS to become overwhelmed. So at the minute, if you're not in part of that trial, if someone does test positive in your household or you've been in the vicinity of someone that is positive, you still have to stick to the rules and make sure you self-isolate for 10 days. OK,
that's really important to clarify, isn't it? As far as vaccinations are concerned, where are we down to now? So is it over 40s all done, all invited?
Yeah. So invited, it's just been absolutely phenomenal. I feel like I come on every week and I'm just like, oh my God, we're doing so well. It's because primary care, as a vaccinator myself, I know how incredibly hard we have worked in regards to getting the vaccination programme, and we're hitting our targets. Remember, general practice is under so much pressure as well. We're also seeing face-to-face patients. We're doing telephone and video consultations. And in the background, believe it or not, we're starting to plan for flu season as well. I know it's the summer, but this is what happens. We're constantly planning for the next thing, and winter will come round quickly. So while this is all happening, we're doing this. And this is just the incredible achievement of what can be achieved, what can be done when we come together as a nation. And the public, I mean, I have to say thank you to the public. They've done their role superbly. When they're invited, they come. As we go into the younger groups, we're always worried about hesitancy. But even within the hesitancy groups, so that's the Black, Asian, ethnic minority groups, 3 times uptake of the vaccination. All our care home residents and vulnerable groups have been vaccinated. And as we go younger into the groups, we need to make sure that we carry on tackling that misinformation. So there's lots of projects like Team Halo, who are working with the UN and the Vaccine Positivity Project, which is a global initiative. Because remember, this is a global pandemic. We need to make sure that we are tackling misinformation when it comes to the vaccine. So if you see something that just doesn't look right, please don't amplify it, verify it first, and then put it out if you feel that this is necessary, because anti-vaxxers have really tried to hamper the vaccination program. But vaccines work. We know they work. If you have the vaccine, 50% less reduction of transmission. So you're not even just protecting yourself, you're protecting those around you. In the reduction in regards to hospitalization, the reduction of severe illness in younger people, if you get COVID-19, and you're vaccinating, less chance of getting long COVID. And long COVID, such as chronic fatigue, long-term loss of smell, coughs and colds or wheezing that patients are experiencing, they're real things that I'm seeing in general practice. And long COVID is something that, again, primary care will have to deal with. So anything that can take off the pressure of primary care is most welcome.
OK, we're going to have to leave it there. I'm going to ask you very, very quickly, and without giving anything away to people who didn't watch it, Line of Duty, verdict?
No comment.
Oh, absolutely right. Well played. Well played.
I think you spoke for many millions there. Thank you very much indeed. We'll see you soon.
We will be speaking about A Line of Duty in the programme, but do not worry, we will not give anything away.
Much.
Let's talk to Kat. So yesterday,